Hello everyone, I'm Tremayne, and today we're going to talk about Bold and the Beautiful. It's been a long time since we've had any kind of soap news from Bold and the Beautiful, and we have two major things that have happened. One, Steffy finally is going to get a new man, and it's not just like some, like, it'll happen, maybe it'll happen, whenever it'll happen. No, this is actually, they casted the actor, this is who it is, and this is what's going to happen. Also, they've recasted a major black character to bring back to the show, and so that's going to bring about a bunch of questions for me about bringing this character back. Does that mean all these other people are about to come back? And finally, I'm going to end the video on a discussion on the importance of diversity. I know that there are a lot of fans that just don't want to have that conversation. So I'm going to save that for the very end. And those who decide to listen to the end can go ahead in the comment section and we have a discussion. Or you'll say something to get you blocked. Either way, something's going to happen. Hopefully, positivity and love and, great stories. So we're going to start first with Steffy's got a new man. Finally. It was promised to us about a year and a half ago that Steffy was going to get a new man. But instead of that happening, we instead got another round of Steffy drooling over Liam, who's torn between her and Hope, and looking at that stupid picture over the fireplace. We got a lot of that. But now we've got more news that Tanner Novlin, arguably best known as the Liberty Mutual guy, has been tapped to play the new role of Dr. John Finnegan, a love interest for Steffy Forrester. The first air date, of course, hasn't been released because we don't even know when the show's coming back. We know they're filming, but we don't know how far they're going to film before they feel comfortable enough to start putting new episodes out there. So of course, this new guy, we got a false start when when the other doctor came on. We were like, okay, Steffy's got an older man, played by Vincent Nazari, who was most recently the doctor on Bold and Beautiful that we were hinted at would be a love interest for Steffy or a love interest for Brooke. Never happened. He was on like 2 episodes and was out of there. And of course, we would love for him to come back playing Deimos on Days of Our Lives. Or Dr. Hayward on General Hospital, because there was talk about that too for a while. But hell, the Erica Kane thing never came back. So yeah, Steffy's got a new man, and he'll fit in with the cast because he'll be taking his shirt off a lot based on his pictures. So I'm sure a lot of you will be very excited to see Steffy's new man with Steffy's brother, who never wears a shirt, Thomas. He'll be part of that crew. But the diversity talk begins after this subject because they have recasted Zende. So Delon Demetz, who's on the show Zoo, is joining the cast of Bold and Beautiful as the new Zende Forrester Dominguez. The character, who was adopted by Kristen Forrester and Tony Dominguez, was previously played by Rome Flynn for, looks like, 3 years. And Daniel E. Smith originated the role in 2001 before exiting the following year. And so we're going to get a new actor playing Zende, but what about his wife? Are we getting Nicole coming back? So, and if Zende comes back, and hopefully Nicole comes back, is it possible to get Maya and Sasha and the father, Nicole's father, who won a freaking Emmy and then was barely on the show again, or Anna Marie Horsford, who played the mother? Can we get some Avons back up in here? Or can we get Justin back in the scene? Or, the resident lawyer for everybody. Let's get him back. I'm not talking about Justin. I can't think of his name right now. Starts with a C, I think. But y'all know who I'm talking about. The other lawyer who's always either doing lawyer stuff or marrying somebody, or at one point was always, taking his shirt off to work out with Zendaya. So is he going to be a regular now so they can go back to working out? Because the one thing that this show does give you is they do try to provide the eye candy, which unfortunately Days of Our Lives, that's a whole nother conversation. I'm gonna do a whole nother video on what Days of Our Lives needs to improve on, and what all of the exits mean and all of the potential exits mean for the fate of the show. That's another video I'm working on. So now it's time to have our diversity talk. I know there are a lot of people that get into their feelings because they don't want any more diversity than's already there. They may feel like, okay, we've got enough representation. We've got Justin, who is basically an extra, who shows up to do paperwork for Bill with no storyline of his own, even though he's got a whole family and dating Donna off camera. We got a whole ton of Avants out there who are winning Emmys and whatnot, and then just disappearing off the face of the show. Because we can bring Maya back, bring Rick back too. There's a whole babies and all sorts of stuff that we need to discuss. So, and we've got all of these characters that are off camera, and then let's not talk about the car accident and killing characters off and not having any repercussions for Thomas or anything like that. We do have Zoe, who is in limbo, who doesn't have a love interest. Her and the lawyer flirted a little bit at her wedding that didn't happen, and then we barely saw either one of them afterwards. So when we talk about diversity, we also got to talk about not just hiring somebody to be there and be the help. We're talking about having characters that have their own storylines, their own life, their own families, their own things that you can bring together and tie together. It's not just having a couple of actors that give you a presence, but what is a presence without a storyline? It's nothing. You might as well be an extra, or what we call the help. A lot of black characters fall into roles where they're not, the people that are running things. They're not the people that are, in charge. They're the help. They're the service providers, the lawyers, they're there to help other character storylines along without having anything of their own. And one of the biggest things I'll have people say in the comment section is, well, the world is already, bad enough, and, I don't really want to a soap opera is a fantasy, and because it's a fantasy, you trying to bring all this real world stuff in, I could watch the news for that. Well, I want to give you a reminder that soap operas are fantasy, with multiple personalities, people coming back from the dead, psychos running around left and forth, people trying to freeze the world over in General Hospital, the whole Ice Princess saga. They turn on One Life to Live, vampires on Port Charles. We know that soaps have lots of fantasy storylines, but one of the major staples of soaps over the years, even to present, is soaps also touch on real life. Soaps deal with rape. Soaps deal with, abortion issues. Soaps deal with, prejudice and homophobia and racial bias. A lot of your favorite, Emmy winners won an Emmy not because they had a multiple personality disorder or something like that going on. A lot of them is because the kid died. Bryson just won because Neil died in real life, and then now the show won. The best storyline they had that year was his funeral. So it's like the heartbreak and also the realism. Marty Saybrook, I love One Life to Live. So you know what happened with her. Got her an Emmy, but it also had people get out your tissues. Katie getting her heart from her brother. Self-sacrifice and all these different things happen in between Taylor and Brooke having a cake fight. So when it comes to realism and soaps, even on Days of Our Lives, when we had a character who was a police officer, accidentally, well, I can't say it's accidentally, he reached, shot rang out, and then turned out, he was a black friend. And that brought about a huge conversation, about, did he do it because he was black? Did he do it because he saw him reaching? Even he didn't know. He ended up trying to kill himself. So soaps have always tackled social issues while also giving you fantasy. If you go further back to the classic soaps, a lot of them were less fantasy and more, relationships and things going on in the world, things like that. Even dealing with interracial relationships. There's so many things that's going on in the world now that, soaps would not be doing their job if they didn't at least give a reflection of what's going on in the world. And part of that reflection is, civil unrest. And this is going to lead to a lot of diversity. I said this in another video, that because more companies are trying to show that they're empathetic and that they care. Batwoman is black now. So we're going to see lots of stuff like that happening now. There's going to be lots of representation. It's going to be a bubble. Whether or not that bubble bursts soon or whether or not that bubble bursts later and it goes back to business normal, I don't know. But right now, the climate we're living in, the stories, that are happening, a lot of it revolves around the civil unrest of injustices and different things. Even shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which the Kirk's police officers, they're like, we're not even sure how we're going to write the show now because there's so many different people, having issues about different things. And it don't help the Terry Crews will shut up. But anyway, I'm not going to go much longer with the subject. I just wanted to tackle a little bit and just say I did expect more representation. Hopefully shows like General Hospital will utilize their actors more, their black actors more. Is no reason why Vernee Watson won 2 Emmys in a row and she was just a help. Even though she had a guy who clearly was meant to be her love interest, it never happened. And the whole storyline of whether or not Curtis is really her son never happened. We had a lot going on with her that was potential. Nothing just happened. So she went on ahead and started, doing another CBS show, and and it happens with a lot of actors where they'll create black characters, Latin characters, even Asian characters, and their first storyline, they have a specific purpose, and so they usually get a really good first storyline, but then you'll notice the second storyline or the third-ish, they start to slide into, we don't know what to do with them anymore. We had a very specific story in mind for these characters, but now we don't know how to write for them, which is why there should be more diversity in the writer's room, So it's not just in front of the camera, it's also behind the camera. And so I'm going to leave this video here. I let it go 15 minutes just to say that this diversity conversation is not going to go away, because whether people calm down about the things that are going on in the world now, or whether something else happens to stir people right back up, these issues won't go away until they're finally addressed and dealt with, and that there's truly equality on the shows. And I know a lot of people have tunnel vision. They love specific characters, and they see out that there's other characters, other races are in the mix somewhere. But the main reason why you have such tunnel vision is because those characters get all of the good storylines, whereas everybody else is just being a help most of the time. So that's it. Like, I'll give one more example. Everybody loves, I'm gonna say everybody loves Lola on Young and Restless. And when she first came on, she had a very specific storyline, and being a virgin and falling in love with a player, and they end up getting married and all that stuff happens. And then once that storyline was over, Lola was just cooking food for people. She was literally the definition of the help. She didn't have really a storyline of her own. Even her potential love interest, he was doing stuff outside of Lola and everything. They care so little about her character that she ended up with a quickie divorce. You sort of blinked and Summer and Kyle were back together, and then Lola was just cooking, and the next thing you know, she's in freaking Miami off camera, because they didn't know what to do next with the character. They don't know what to do with her and Theo. They don't know if Theo's good, Theo's bad. Young and the Restless, I'll say this last thing about Young and the Restless, is the reason why they shouldn't have won the Emmy this year is because they have storylines that are like, trying to stick spitballs to the chalkboard, and they just trying stuff. Josh Griffin is just trying stuff, but never really following through with any storylines, like Phyllis not having a love interest for over a year. Billy, his whole situation, even the actor expressed, but he won an Emmy because he did his job and he did it well, but even he said he didn't like what he was doing. So we need to do better. And the other reason why we got to talk about diversity, and I know some of y'all stuck in your ways and you don't want any more diversity, let's keep it all the way real. The shows will be canceled because representation brings on new viewers that want to see themselves represented in a show. When I watch a show, I want to see myself represented in that show in some capacity, and I don't want it to just be the help, period. And so when you only have people being the help or not really getting good storylines, viewers tune out. Millions of viewers have tuned out of Young and the Restless, Bold and Beautiful, General Hospital, and Days of Our Lives. Millions of viewers will tune back in if they see themselves represented on these shows, so that all of the numbers of the different fans watching can enjoy the show, fully. And this will lead us to the next level of these shows being able to go on for another 10 years or so. So that's it. Said what I had to say. I said 15 minutes, is now 19 minutes. You can let me know in the comment section on any of the thoughts of what I've said. Like I said, anything, that's vulgar or negative, or you can disagree with me, but there's a way to disagree. But I'm just blocking you. I'm not even going to answer you. I see it. I see somebody being trashy, racist. I'm just blocking you. Point blank, period. Done. So that's it. I've given you my diversity editorial, along with news that many have been waiting for. Steffi's got a new man, and there's a new Zende. And Zende coming back what does that mean for the show, as far as like any other characters that are connected to him that aren't on the show, like his wife. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.